Okay, here we go. Hannie was stopped at the by German soldiers at a Harlem checkpoint, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, when she was searched, they found the newspapers and her pistol. So she was taken into custody. They thought it was pretty weird that they found a woman with a gun, because normally the women were only transporting newspapers and anti-fascist pamphlets. And so they were like, oh, like maybe this is her, but she had dark hair. And they were like, well, this must not be her. But they took her in. And eventually, when they were able to see the roots of her hair and the red coming in, they knew that they had caught the girl with the red hair.
Damn.
Yeah. So she was interrogated, tortured, and thrown into solitary confinement. But she held strong under duress and didn't give up any information about the resistance. They knew she had assassinated Ragu and Faber, which I didn't get the info on that. Sorry, guys. And they tortured her into confessing to the attack of Ko Langajuk. I'm not sure I'm saying that right. This attack on Ko had stopped 5 female hostages from being executed. So she was able to free these people. The resistance fought for her release, and they were promised that she wouldn't be executed. And then I have a note here, and I wanted to know if maybe you had come across this, Jordan, that Truce had come up with some sort of like plan to try and save her or like get her out of confinement, but it didn't work. Was that something you came across? Because I couldn't really find anything.
Actually, no. I
Yeah.
didn't really see anything about that when I was doing research.
I think sometimes they dramatize things, so I was like, I would assume that maybe it was the same efforts that the entire RVV was doing. But they kept her. 3 weeks before the liberation of the Netherlands on April 17th, 1945, Hannie Schaft was taken by Nazi German Matthias Schmitz and Dutchman Martin Kuschper to the sand dunes outside of Bloemendaal to be executed. Martin was said to be known for his cruelty. When Schmitz took his shot, he missed Hannie, only grazing her temple. She's said to have shouted out, quote, "I'm a much better shot," unquote. So the scumbag Martin pulled out a submachine and unloaded the gun on Hannie, killing her. And it was there on the beach they buried Hannie in a shallow grave. So after the war, over 400 bodies of resistors were found buried in those dunes. All were men but one, Hannie Schaft. On November 27, 1945, Hannie was reburied in a state funeral, and Queen Wilhelmina presided over it. She called Hannie the symbol of resistance. Hannie was given posthumous awards, the Wilhelmina Resistance Cross and the Medal of Freedom from General Eisenhower. And she also became a symbol and heroine of the Dutch Communist Party. But when it was clear that the Soviet Union wasn't any better than the fascist Nazi regime, communism fell out of popularity in the Netherlands. And so they banned commemorations of Hannie for a long time. But not if Truce had anything to do with it. In 1982, she created a sculpture memorial of Hannie, which is on the first page of the pictures. Aww. And it's displayed in Canal Park in Haarlem, the Netherlands, Hannie's hometown. And in the early 1990s, due to the work of Hannie Schaft Memorial Foundation, commemorations celebrating Hannie were allowed again. Now, every year on the last Sunday in November, Dutch citizens celebrate Hannie's commitment and sacrifice to their country. Excuse me. So in 2020, Hannie was honored in a celebration commemorating 100 years since her birth on September 16th. And I wanted to read a little quote from that event. Quote, "Hannie fought for liberty and a society in which everyone had the right to participate. Her life teaches us that we must not look away from the fight against evil. We must sometimes hear the expression, 'Evil flourishes when good men do nothing.' In that light, she is an inspiration to us all, unquote. And I thought that was just a great quote to end it on,
I
because
completely agree.
really fucking inspiring woman, and really tragic that,
is really
you know,
hard.
they wanted to make an example of her too, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Like
And
being
really, I just thought it was terrible too that she died only 3 weeks before the war
yeah,
ended.
yeah, yeah. Well, wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't that Anne Frank too? Didn't she only die like 2 weeks
Yeah,
before the
Something
camp
like
was
that.
liberated?
pretty
Like
much. Bergen-Belsen concentration camp.
Bergen-Belsen, yeah. Ugh, so tragic, but a very inspiring story. And my cousin actually recommended another woman who fought the Nazis, and where is it? I wanted to see if you recognize the name. Let me find her, Jordan, because I'm like, we might have to cover this chick someday. He said that she killed like over like 200 men or something, confirmed people. Ludmila Pavlichenko.
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing about her. I think we talked briefly about her, like, back in January after this
Mm,
whole Elon Musk Nazi salute thing happened,
okay.
and we were gonna do a collaborative post on that, and I think I ended up not doing it because I was just worried about, like, not that I didn't agree with the message, because clearly I did, but I was
Yeah.
worried about, like, my account being banned
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Because of having like Nazi shit on it. And you're like, I'm not being pro Nazi. I just,
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, and these days, if you're anti-fascist, you're perceived as being a violent terrorist.
which is so, it's
Ass
so
backwards.
contradictory. And
Fucking antithetical.
yeah, like we should all be anti-fascist. Like,
Yes.
that's the way, like, this is what people fought for. Like, ugh.
The more and more I learn about what is this quote unquote communism back in the day, the
Yeah.
more I'm like, wow, people really like went that far to brainwash people into thinking
Yeah.
that's
That
such
capitalism is the way to be.
yeah, and it's such a bad thing to like have empathy and care about people and fucking
Right.
How
it's just
about
such a mess.
Elon wanting empathy right now?
And then his
Like,
fucking little curse
after he said empathy
destroyed
was like the curse of the West, like the
Yeah.
left.
Western
Like,
civilization.
In the
you want
latest
empathy
I
after
thought
you
they
said it
were-
was a curse?
I thought they were nice.
Yeah.
I thought I thought the left
We're
were
not the tolerant
nonviolent.
left.
I
right.
thought the left were nonviolent.
And the latest thing is I'm not even gonna call them arsonists because I don't agree with that framing.
It's
The
just vandal.
Yeah,
They're just vandalizing stuff.
the people that sabotaged, I think that's a better word for it.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Tesla vehicles across various dealerships across the US. The administration wants to characterize them as terrorists now.
Yeah.
And it's what we've been talking about. It's to silence people into submission.
It's insane because we have like children getting blown to pieces in schools across our country on a regular basis,
Mhm.
and that's not domestic terrorism. Like,
and so much
none of
so
these
much
people been put to death, but
violence against
No,
women.
because that doesn't threaten
that's-
capitalism.
yeah.
The amount of times I've heard of like a woman surviving being murdered horrifically and that person getting out like 10
And
years
doing
later
it again.
and them not even telling her that the person got out.
Yeah.
That's not terrorism. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Some of the comments that people will say on their public TikTok profiles,
Oh God.
like just blatant essay, just out
Oh,
there,
yeah.
like holy shit, like you actually believe that, and
people are
that
very
you're not violating
loyal.
the terms and conditions. You're allowed to fucking talk like that, but we're not allowed to speak on behalf of Palestine.
No. Oh my God, no. God forbid you see Palestinians as human. My God. What a horrible thing.
JFK did.
Obviously, that's sarcasm.
The
To Palestine.
like just nothing makes sense, but it also does make sense at the same time, because if you understand history,
Yep.
you
thing.
understand why this is happening.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and like, we're not historians or journalists. We're just like two chicks digging deep into stuff and
Trying to get
being-
the word out.
yeah, and it's insane, like how you just like see the patterns so much more. Like, not that I had again, I've had an education and all, but
Yeah.
it just gets deeper when you even just
The
look
more
at
you
specific
dig.
people's stories, like
Yeah.
that, like this.
Even when I try
They
to-
witnessed 200 people get rounded up and deported and disappeared. That's just
Yeah.
that's happening right now. Like,
Yeah.
that's what's happening here. So it's, you know, the time is now. That's all.
The time was years ago.
Yes, yes. Like,
History repeating itself.
Yeah,
yeah,
nothing,
it's crazy.
nothing's random. Everything
Yeah.
has precedent.
Synchronicities everywhere.
Like, you don't just end up in a world like this out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Even when I try to look up like fun things like Cynthia Plastercaster or like, you know, like actresses.
Oh, when I
and
went
stuff
to
like
research
that,
Hypatia.
yeah, it gets so deep into like
Yeah.
everything gets so deep into like the patriarchy and the fucking bullshit of this country. It's maddening.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Even
Hypatia.
Lucille
I'm like,
Ball
oh, I
being,
just
like,
wanted to learn about
accused of
the lady who studied the
communism.
stars, and then she gets fucking flagged to death in a fucking temple.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, for making fucking tools that so you could look at a fucking planet. Like,
It's witchcraft.
Yeah,
it's
me and
Ooh, we're
Craig.
witches now too. They're calling us witches. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's come full circle.
Always.
I don't want to
Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect? You're women that have an opinion.
Oh God, yeah.
God forbid.
I mean, if you're not somebody who would have been lobotomized or burned at the stake back in the day, how are you even living life?
I know.
Yeah.
At least back in the day, they give you vibrators.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, give us vibrators and quaaludes that we took on our own accord.
Right, like the
Yes.
1950s
Oh, you
housewives, they're fucking.
So high. And
Yeah.
They used to have
that's why they put
doctors.
everything
we
in Jell-O.
we need to relax you. And then
Yeah, and it's like, oh my God, doctors realized what foreplay was.
Yep.
oh my God.
Anyway,
Still don't know what the code is. Anyways.
well, doctors did. Anyway, yeah, this was great. I think we did I did a much better job of staying on point this week and all that. So thank you so much again, Jordan, for joining us. This was great.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime you ever want to work on any future projects.
Yeah, and then we've got someone next week for you.
Sophie
We've got
Skoll.
That's who you're covering next week?
Yeah.
Okay. Sophie Soul next week.
Yeah.
So that's going to be
I think it's Skoll.
Skoll?
It's
Oh, yeah.
SCHOLL.
Probably. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So,
Excited for that.
As a reminder, guys, we're now on Deezer. And then Jordan is it has his podcast, the 805 Uncensored podcast. That's also on the Anti-Capitalist Park. I will be sharing that information in our show notes. And Jordan, is there anything you wanted to say before we stop recording today?
I just look at this podcast and this episodic series as a method of hope.
Yeah.
You can look towards these women that persisted and resisted against some of the most oppressive forces that we can ever encapsulate in the history of the world, and then you can look at modern times, and I think that you can get a sense that people have always struggled against fascism and authoritarianism.
Yes.
And if you're
We
ever
can hear it.
going through the news cycle and you feel really down, look towards these heroes, because
Yeah.
there's
And that's why we started
precedence.
this too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of great people that have always fought for a better world, and like I always like to say too, the resistance is you. It's not any one person, it's not any organization. Everybody can collectively work together towards building a world that they want to see.
Yeah.
So well
Keep it
said.
on community, man.
I agree so much. Thank you so much. That was
Capitalism
nice job,
thrives in isolation.
Yes. Very eloquently said. Well, if that's all, everybody make sure you're following us. If you don't have the notifications on for when our episodes drops, please turn them on so that you know when our episodes drop. And all the other things.
Yeah.
All right. Stay bad, bitches.
Stay bad, bitches.